Our next story takes us to the borough of Carnegie, where plans are underway to revitalize the Andrew Carnegie Free Library and Music Hall. The building is rich in history, but also badly in need of repair. Tonight on Q's Tonya Caruso takes us on a tour and explains why the community won't rest until the Carnegie is restored to its former glory.
This is quite a treasure for the nation and certainly for Carnegie.
Well, I think it's the Acropolis of Carnegie, certainly, sitting on top of a hill, and it's a very handsome structure.
I think that it's appropriate that this building has some powerful stories to tell.
This building is the Andrew Carnegie Free Library and Music Hall, and it's tied more closely to the history of Carnegie than any other building in town. Its legacy and its contributions are immeasurable, beginning with how it helped Carnegie to get its name.
Carnegie actually came into existence when the leaders of what were then Chartiers in Mansfield went up to New York, approached Mr. Carnegie, and said, if you build us a library, we will merge and become Carnegie. And the town incorporated in 1894.
Steel giant Andrew Carnegie stayed true to his word. In 1899, construction began, and in 1901, the library opened its doors.
And it was unequivocally the grandest building around, a library, a music hall, perched up here on the top of the hill above a thriving Main Street. It was the most beautiful building in the western suburbs.
And it stayed that way, paramount in the community for decades. The library provided a place for people to gather where knowledge could be shared. Graduations, concerts, and community plays took place in the music hall, and the basement provided a place for young people to play. Life was good, but then, as acting executive director Maggie Forbes explains, things began to change.
The Andrew Carnegie Free Library was one of only 4 libraries in this country that Mr. Carnegie endowed. The others are Braddock, Homestead, Duquesne, and Carnegie.
The original endowment was $93,000. Carnegie later gave another $100,000 more.
Somewhere along the line, the endowment ran out. Several decades ago, really. There was no place to turn.
For years, the library board struggled to keep the building running. Betsy Bell Martin is an architect who's been a library trustee since 1985.
We had a big campaign in the late 80s, early 90s to get a new roof because the roof was leaking badly. Then we had another drive to insulate the building, at least the attic space, and do some new electrical work.
And now the library is involved in its most expensive and challenging campaign ever. It's working to raise $8 million to restore, renovate, and revitalize this building. Everywhere inside, you see the reasons why, like this nearly forgotten treasure.
It's incredible. It's mind-boggling. And here it is, just sitting here waiting for us to take care of it. So I think it's our destiny to take care of this.
On the second floor of the library is another incredible link to history. This is the Thomas Espy Post of the Grand Army of the Republic, a room where Union Civil War veterans met for decades after the battle. It's filled with countless artifacts, books, and detailed accounts of the soldiers' lives. There are very few, if any, rooms like it still intact in our country.
The room was opened in 1906 by the membership of the Grand Army of the Republic for this lodge. This was their meeting room.
The leader, the captain of that group, was Thomas Espy, who was, of course, a local resident, and after whom this post is named. We were told that after the last veteran died, the room was closed up, literally barricaded with bookcases, we're told, on the other side of the main door here. And supposedly no one entered the room until the early 1980s.
It was quite a revelation to us to find this intact JAR post.
Ken Bowman is the president of the 9th Pennsylvania Reserves, a nonprofit reenactment group dedicated to the preservation and history of the Civil War.
And during those early years, the membership cleaned it up, removed the coal dust, and tried to spruce it up as best they can, just to stabilize it and maintain it. And that's about all we could do because of the vast amount of money that would be needed to really restore this room.
I mean, they're actual weapons created in the 1860s, 1850s that were used on the field and then brought here afterwards. I mean, these guys, they actually touched these muskets and they seen the battles, and it actually still functions.
Structurally, the room is as it was when the veterans came here. It's just deteriorated. The books were deteriorating, the upholstery on the commanders' and vice commanders' chairs were deteriorating. The carpeting is original, but there are spots where it is threadbare, and we would like to have it redone.
That's really our goal right now, is to get funding to preserve it and maintain it and make it available to the public for all generations.
And that's the goal for the entire building.
This is the Andrew Carnegie Music Hall, and it really is a beauty. It has so much character. That's apparent. But what isn't apparent is it is superb acoustically. It's patterned after Carnegie Hall in New York. The music hall is, but so too is our whole building. By the way, on these seats you can see they are the original, and everybody is always captivated by the fact that we have hat racks under the seat.
The music hall is home to 2 performing companies, the Carnegie Performing Arts Center and Stage 62, a community theater group. It welcomes countless other performers throughout the year, and with the reception and meeting hall right off of the balcony, it's fast becoming a much sought-after venue.
From the outset.
So what about the restoration? Where do things stand now? Well, Phase 1, completed in 2005, made the building accessible and structurally sound. Phase 2, just about finished, was all about weatherproofing.
Phase 3 is the part that we're all waiting for. It's the interior improvements, repairing some of the damage that has been done by all those decades of water coming in, the plaster and the paint that needs to be restored.
Also, air conditioning, new floors, and upgrades to the main reading room and music hall are in the works. All of this as the campaign committee still has nearly $4 million more to raise.
There is no doubt in my mind that we're going to go all the way to the finish.
And step by step, that work continues, with the campaign committee and the people dedicated to one goal: taking this building, a gem from the past, and making it shine once again for the region and for the country.
That means everything. It's what we do. It's what we're all about. I mean, just being able to bring somebody in here, this is what it's about, saving history.
I think it has a great future, and I think the town will appreciate it and profit by it.
I truly believe that restoring this beautiful building is the linchpin that will galvanize the revitalization of Carnegie. This is indeed the beacon on the hill for Carnegie and surrounding communities. This is where the town came into being, and this is what we need to do.